It's time once again to slip into your camo, grab your gun, and join us out in the field for another episode of the Up North Journal with your host, Mike Adams, and his son, the other Mike Adams. They're locked, loaded, and ready for another exciting episode. So let's step outside and hit the trail.
Hey, we're back again this week, everybody, and just like to remind everybody, we're part of the Outdoor Radio Network, and we're also over at myoutdoortv.com. For those of you who've been listening to us over there, we would like to invite you over to iTunes or either go to our website, upnorthjournal.com, and click on the player there, and we'll take you to our direct download site, either our direct download site or iTunes, either one. You can subscribe to the show. What's the matter there, son?
I don't know. I just got sugar buzz.
Yeah, you got a goofy looking look on your face there or something.
Yeah.
You okay? Too much Kool-Aid this weekend?
Yeah.
Okay. Nice do-rag, too, by the way.
Yeah.
Nobody can see it, but you got your...
You guys keep ragging on me for it.
You got your little gangster look going on there with your camo do-rag. You hanging out with the bad bucks out there in the woods or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want my head to get sunburnt.
Oh, okay. Yeah, shaved all your hair off.
Yeah.
Kind of looking like your old man here. I always cut my hair short in the summer, too.
Oh, I thought you meant bald.
Well, I'm not bald. I'm not bald. I just keep my hair cut short. I don't like it long. Well, enough of us picking on each other this week. Let's get into the show here, man. We started off slow, but we finished with a fury. And hopefully we'll have quite a show for you here this week. And I'd like to start this week talking, first of all, about an upcoming event that is going to take place here in our local mid-Michigan area. For those of you who live in the Michigan area, more specifically in the Genesee County, the Livingston County, or Oakland County area, the Tri-County area here. A friend of mine, Chuck Parr, who is actually now one of the pro staff members here at Up North Journal, is going to start a Delta Waterfowl chapter in the area here. And there is a meeting coming up, and that is July 17th at 7 p.m. at the Sherman Middle School in Holly, Michigan. If you would like directions to that and more specific information and Chuck's email link, it's on the front page of upnorthjournal.com. So cruise over to the website and check that out. Speaking of the website, we got another member here that's joined us on the pro staff, our quote-unquote webmaster and fishing aficionado, Tim Ford, who has taken over our web duties here. And
Duties.
Yeah, I said duty. He's taken over the chores on taking care of the website and is doing a fabulous job. You might notice that there have been a few changes over there. We're still got some more things to come that we're working on that we haven't actually put on the website yet, but we're getting there. So just things are changing there, maybe not daily, but weekly at least anyway. And it's moving and shaking over there. So go over there and check that out. And like I said, we've got a player on there too where you can listen to the Up North Journal the Up North Journal podcast. And like I said, if you click on that player, it'll take you right to the direct download site where we have the podcast. You could actually subscribe to it. So check that out if you would. Now, also, we also write for a blog site here. It's called Hooks and Bullets, and that is over at skinnymoose.com or michiganhuntingtoday.com, more specifically. And this week, I wrote a blog about my youngest daughter taking up archery. She is 6 years old, almost 7. She'll be 7 on the 18th of this month. And we got her on a little Matthews Genesis bow, and she's pulling maybe 10, 12 pounds on it, But hey, you know what? She's happy. She's pulling it back, and she's sticking arrows in the target. And you know what? At 10 yards, that's all that matters. She's having fun with it. I actually picked her up some arrows today. But, I think it must have been Tuesday or Wednesday, I wrote a blog about it. And it was titled Mystical Flight of the Arrow, and how the flight of an arrow can intrigue kids so much and captivate them. Not as only kids, but us adults. And I wrote that article with nothing hunting in mind at all. It was just about a father's joy of teaching his daughter how to shoot. And all of a sudden, it created one heck of a flurry on the internet. I had 3 antis directly attack me personally, directly attack other hunters, an outdoorsman personally, and it got pretty nasty there for a while. I actually kicked 2 guys off the site because of it, because of their personal attacks, and I told them it wouldn't be tolerated. At first, when I first saw it, I had just come in from working on the roof all day. I was hot, I was tired, and I seen that, and man, my blood pressure hit the roof. And I jumped right on and laid back into them, and I shouldn't have. I did nothing but hurt our cause as hunters and fishermen and outdoorsmen. And I had to later take back what I said, which I did, and apologize for it. But I also told them that that type of talk would not be tolerated on the website. And lo and behold, they kept it up, so I booted them. I deleted everything, their posts, and said that you will no longer be able to post on here. If I see anything else, I will delete it. Now, the third guy, we actually carried on a good debate back and forth. And I don't agree with anything he said. The guys that actually stood up and defended our outdoor heritage, they didn't agree with him. But you know what? I did see a side of the anti-movement of why they might be the way they are. And it gave me a glimpse into the window of their mind. And this particular gentleman has his own piece of property. It's quite a substantial piece of property in another state. And he has been battling hunters trespassing on his land. Well, I take it back. I don't call them hunters. He calls them hunters, but I don't. Anybody who hunts or anybody who trespasses and poaches is not a hunter. That's like calling a drug dealer on the side of the street a pharmacist. And they're nothing further from the truth. They're violators, they're lawbreakers, and they should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. I don't agree with what they do, and I do not think that we should be lumped into the same category as a person who does that. Anybody who trespasses, violates, breaks the law, does nothing but hurt the people like us who are genuinely out trying to enjoy the outdoors, genuinely trying to do ethical hunting, being a sportsman, and contributing to the outdoors. And that was his mindset, and he was throwing everybody into that same category. So looking at that, we need to seriously, if you're thinking about crossing over on somebody's land, like, oh, nobody will know. We're just going to go over and sneak over and take a deer or take a turkey or whatever the game may be. It doesn't matter what it is. It's wrong, and it does nothing but hurt us as outdoorsmen. If you're violating, it does nothing but hurt us as outdoorsmen. And there might be somebody that's riding the fence of either, maybe they don't, not even riding the fence, maybe they have no opinion one way or the other. But all of a sudden, you put that controversy in their mind, or you make them mad, and all of a sudden they're on the anti-side, and they're doing nothing but battling us, trying to take away our rights. So you can do nothing but hurt us that way. I guess in the end on the blog site, I told him, I said, I guess we agree to disagree. We tried to respectfully debate back and forth the issues. We weren't going to change each other's mind. There was no way. But what it did is it gave me a little glimpse into the window of his mind as to why he was the way he was. So, with that being said, we accomplished something. Or at least I think I did. I got to see into why he was the way he was. What are you shaking your head for? What are you thinking?
I'm just nodding.
Yeah. Well, what do you think about the whole thing? You didn't read a lot of the blogs. I wouldn't let you because they were getting pretty rude.
Yeah.
But on that thought, what are you thinking?
I don't know, just rude, I guess.
What, the guys being rude?
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of antis out there like that. They're out there to cut you to the bone, and they don't care. They'll just soon attack you as anybody else if you don't have their same belief system. So, but I just wanted to kind of throw that out there and just let guys know, hey, when you're out there in the woods or on the water, in the field, whatever, be ethical, be safe. Think before you do something that might cost you your integrity or cost us hunters as a whole. So, but that was my week. We spent 3 days battling that issue, and you seen how upset I got a couple times.
Yeah. I tried talking to you. You're just like, just go.
Just leave the room. I'm blogging. I'm commenting on my blog. But yeah, it gets frustrating. So, but let's get on to another subject now. This week here in Michigan, we found out about our elk permits. Actually, I don't know if I even told you, but I did check all of our draws this week. and we're not hunting again this year.
Yeah.
Hitting the elk lottery here in Michigan is like.
I thought you were going to say we hit it.
No. It's like hitting the lottery.
The look you had on your face.
You probably got as good a chance of hitting the lottery. Well, no. Actually, you got a better chance of drawing an elk tag, but it's like hitting the lottery, literally. There was 330 tags given here in Michigan, and usually there's 30 to 40,000 guys who put in for that draw. I don't even know how many people put in this year, but I know my dad didn't draw one, I didn't draw one, and you didn't draw one. And I don't even think I put Mackenzie in for one, just because I knew the only way she could take one is bow hunt, and she's not ready for that yet.
When do we put in for bear?
We already put in for bear, and actually we will find out. That's my next thing on the show rundown here. Tomorrow morning, Monday morning, we will know, maybe even as soon as midnight tonight, we'll know if you drew a bear tag. For Mackenzie, I put her in for a preference point. I put me and my dad in for a preference point. So, actually, I'll put you in for the hunt. So, yeah, I'm just building points again. So,
how many do I have, like 5?
No, I think this will be 3 or 4 for you. I'm not sure. Realistically, I don't think you'll get one. But you never know. You may get drawn. Who knows? It just depends on how many people put in this year. So there's a chance you might get drawn. So we'll have to wait and see. So
woohoo.
Yeah. You think woohoo? Do you see big old black bear coming down the trail at you?
Yeah.
You'd be going, help. Get me out of here. No, man, bear hunting's a lot of fun. It's exhilarating to say the least. So what have you been doing this week? I mean, that's kind of the little tidbits that we've got going here. And the next thing I got, actually, I may hold off till after the first break because it's such a big topic. So
where is it?
Right here. So I'm
okay.
I'm gonna save that.
Yeah.
But did you do any shooting this week?
Yeah, I've been shooting almost every day.
Yeah, we shot at the range, or actually, you shot at the range Monday, and no, you didn't shoot Monday. I take that back. You said your shoulder was sore, so I made you stay home, so you couldn't go to the range. But you did shoot.
Oh, yeah.
You did shoot Thursday at the range.
Oh yeah, actually, I shot. Although I had a severe sunburn.
Yeah, you were hurt. You've been out laying in the pool up at Grandma's house, but you stopped by the range Thursday, and Mom dropped you off, and I met you up there on my lunch hour. So how'd you do up there?
I slinged a few. I was shooting at 20 yards. I was just doing my normal.
You were shooting which bow again?
The Edge.
That was the Diamond?
Yeah. The
Diamond Edge, okay. And you still having some problems with setup on that and everything, or not?
Just at 15 yards.
Yeah,
I'm good at 10 yards. I have to aim 3 inches low. 20, I'm dead on with that bow. At 15, I'm low and to the left.
I don't understand that. That makes no sense to me whatsoever. I can see being low or high, making that adjustment. But
see, I thought maybe like an inch or two low.
Yeah, but I can't understand why you're shooting right.
Yeah.
That, to me, I think you're torquing the bow still.
Probably.
I think you're trying to compensate somehow or another in your mind when you're making that compensation between your pins. I think you're throwing the shot. But we talked a little bit about that bow last week.
The Edge?
Yeah, and I know the Equalizer. I know you got some stuff you want to talk about later on that because we did quite a bit with that here in the last day or two. So I won't spoil that.
Yeah.
So, but all you did really this week was take care of the of shooting the range that day. We did work on Jake's groundhog a little bit. We got
it skinned out. The arms we couldn't get turned inside out, so we had to cut them off. Yeah,
so now he's just got a nice flat little hedgehog rug, or not hedgehog, but groundhog rug.
Yeah.
So he's got that up in his room. That's just the little tidbits that we've been working on. We've got a lot of arrows here. We got a fletch. We got some from a buddy of mine, his daughter, that we got to work on and get those fletched.
I got 2 of mine fletched already.
Yeah, you whacked 2 of yours.
I had 2 come off today.
So we worked on those, getting those refletched. But you know what? I got a real big piece of news I want to talk about, along with a couple other things. So let's get our first break in, get that out of the way, and come back and talk about what we did yesterday. What do you think?
Okay.
All right, let's step outside real quick, and we'll take a break and be right back after this.
If you're looking for the best in outdoor hunting and fishing podcasts, look no further than the Outdoor Radio Network. Each week we have dozens of podcasts devoted to outdoor sports. with shows like On the Water with Bob Murray, Bass Champ Journal, Surf and Shore Fishing, just to name a few. Check out all outdoor podcasts on the OutdoorRadioNetwork.com.
Welcome back, everybody, and now we'll get into a little bit of our outdoor news of the week. And unless you've been living under a rock this week, or you've slept all week long, you should have known, I believe it was Thursday, the Supreme Court of the United States made a ruling on our Second Amendment freedom. And what did they agree to, Michael?
It's a person's individual right to own firearms.
That's right. That's what they ruled. 5-4. That's the scary part. One vote away from losing our Second Amendment rights. That's the part that just scares the devil out of me. I'm glad they voted for it. You know, I mean, now we have clear direction on the Second Amendment. They ruled that it is an individual right to own a firearm and be able to protect yourself with a firearm. So they ruled in favor of Heller in the Heller versus D.C. case, which the District of Columbia, Washington, D.C., had a 32-year standing gun ban, handgun ban, where nobody in the District of Columbia could own a handgun unless they had it before the ban took place. And somebody sued them, and it went all the way to the Supreme Court, and they won. So that's good news for us as people who are into firearms, who own firearms, who want to be able to protect ourselves. And now the NRA has taken up the fight even further, and they filed suit in Chicago, and they filed suit in San Francisco, and there's a couple other smaller towns I believe they're filing in where there is a handgun ban or gun bans, and they're going to be pursuing that to get those laws repealed. I did read somewhere one city, I think it was a small town, actually said they were dropping the handgun ban law that they had on the books, that immediately it was gone. They weren't even going to try to fight it. So it's good news for us. NRA's taking up the fight, and they're going to charge forward with that. But I blogged about this week a little bit too, and the fact that even though we've got this huge victory now, we need to be diligent and not just say, okay, we won, now we can sit back and rest. You know what? Keep the train moving, man. Keep those wheels rolling. We've got a big election coming up right now in November. Everybody knows presidential election. It's time to stand up and make our voices be heard. You know, I don't typically get on one side or the other, but everybody knows how I vote. I'm conservative, and I'm pro-gun, pro-hunting, and that means Republican. And, there's going to be a couple of Supreme Court seats come open here in the near future. And if we get the Democrats in office, if it's a conservative judge who happens to be replaced, that thing could swing the other way, and they could start imposing some other rules on handguns and firearms and long guns that we don't want. So it's very, very, very important that we pay attention to our elections that are coming up. Also, if you don't belong to the NRA, it costs $10. Join the NRA. You don't have to get the magazine. To get the magazine, I think it's $35 a year to get the magazine and your membership. Give them the $10. That way you're a member. Not only that, if you've got firearms in your home and they get stolen and you're an NRA member, you get an extra $1,000 rider of insurance on your homeowner's insurance for those guns through the NRA. So if you get over $1,000 worth of guns stolen, they'll give you $1,000 because you're a member. That's an added bonus. Not to mention some other little perks that go along the way. So let's let our voice be heard, people. Stand up. Join the NRA. Send them $10. The more of us there are, the more serious they'll take us. So let's keep the train rolling. Let's make our voices be heard and move on with this thing. So now I want to get into a couple other pieces of news. This week, the state of Kentucky, their Fish and Wildlife and Game Division has got a proposal they passed and put before the state legislature that the state legislature is going to have to take a look at now and hopefully vote on within the next year. They are wanting to start a controlled bear hunt in the state of Kentucky, over in the Appalachian area, they're seeing a little more interaction with black bears and humans and what they want, and they want to get that population under check and under control. So they're going to try to start a black bear hunt in the state of Kentucky. And also in the state of New York this week, there was news that came out that they are wanting to expand their black bear hunting areas, so their wildlife management units. There's a couple other areas that they want to start expanding into and letting people bear hunt in those areas.
That's cool.
Yeah, it is. It's nice to see some areas get expanded, some different type of game being able to be hunted and, be controlled, so we don't see these population booms. Unlike what I said last week about the state of New Jersey, who wants the 13 bears removed out of town. That, hey, you know what? You guys canceled your bear hunt, so now you got some problem bears and you want somebody to remove them. Too bad. I mean, you get what you deserve. I hope nobody gets hurt. I really do. I hope nobody gets hurt over this. Because, there's potential for danger there. So it just goes to show you cancel a bear hunt, you start having rogue bears in population booms, and all of a sudden there's a problem on your hands. And, that's the way to control this stuff. Hunting is a wildlife management tool. So another piece of news we got this week, there was a guy that was down in Tennessee, and he was in Cane Creek. He went down for a trout fishing day. This is back in April, wanted to go down and fish for some trout, and he hooked a nice little trout, and he's reeling the trout in. He gets it back up to top of the water there. He reaches down, and he gets ready to release the trout, and just as soon as he's got the line tight, as soon as he gets ready down to reach for the fish flops and spits the hook. Treble hook goes right into his mouth. It hooks in the top of his mouth, in the back of his throat. And he kind of tried to pull, and he knew it was hung good, so he cut the line and held it tight, so he wouldn't swallow it and it'd go down through his throat. Lo and behold, one of his buddies happened to be there that day downstream, just around the bend or so, and he found him, and he took him to the hospital. They did some surgery and removed the fish hook or the treble hook out of the guy's throat. And I guess the headline of the story was Trout Hooks Fisherman. So kind of a scary thing, to think about if you're out fishing by yourself. He had his mouth open, just started to reach down to pick the fish up, and it flopped, and he had the tension on the line, so it, ping, here it comes flying back and went right in his throat. Kind of crazy.
I've done it with my friends before, like on their back cast. I've got hooked in the hand before.
On their back cast?
Yeah.
And them not watching what they're doing?
Yeah, it hurts.
Yeah, so you kind of...
Especially when the barb goes, like, inside your hand.
Yeah, so then you got to try to back it out and tear the skin open.
Hurts.
So, that's kind of weird. A fish hooked a guy. Caught a guy, so... But he's okay. They did some surgery on him, got the hook out, and he's lived to tell the tale. So
they get that thing framed.
What's that, the hook?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be kind of weird, man. It's kind of a different story. So, hey, well, that's the outdoor news of the week. So let's take another quick break. So we've got the rest of the show to talk about the rest of the weekend here. We got a lot of exciting stuff coming up, what we did yesterday and today. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. We're going to step outside, take a quick break, and we'll be right back after this.
If you're looking for the best in outdoor hunting and fishing podcasts, look no further than the Outdoor Radio Network. Each week we have dozens of podcasts devoted to outdoor sports, with shows like On the Water with Bob Murray, Bass Champ Journal, Surf and Shore Fishing, just to name a few. Check out all outdoor podcasts on the OutdoorRadioNetwork.com.
Welcome back. Now the best part of the show, Mikey's Game Bag. Okay, well, this week on Mikey's Game Bag, first I want to talk about something that Bob Rich emailed me, I think today or a few days ago.
Tell everybody who Bob is for those who don't know.
Bob Rich is from the Bob Rich Shooting Journal. I think it's brshootingjournal.com or no, .blogspot.com.
Yeah.
And
there's a link to his website on our website.
Yeah. www.ammuntionreloading.com.
There you go.
Got the plug-in. You taught me well.
So Bob wrote you an email.
Yeah, he wrote me an email, and we were just talking about, because we haven't talked in a while and stuff, and he just said, hey, what's up, and stuff like that, shoot the bull and stuff like that. And then he said he thought about putting some of that UV killer on his pop-up blind, because he never thought of that, because he said his camouflage was all UV'd up and stuff, and he said he's going to put some on his blind.
You know, we found this stuff at a show. That was back early spring or late fall. That last show we were at. It's UV blocker, UV killer. It's a spray. Actually, you put your camouflage clothes under a black light, and if they don't shine or vibrate, then your clothes are okay. But if you see hot spots and white colors or shiny spots, that's UV light bouncing off of it, and that's what deer, coyotes, turkey, a lot of game animals, that's what they see in UV light. They can pick that up, and this chemical, there's no scent to it or anything. It's just it's a UV blocker, and you spray it on. But he's going to put it on his blind.
Yeah, he said he thought that it would light up like a Christmas light bulb or something.
I bet it would, because a lot of the pop-up blind manufacturers aren't privy to this yet.
They're made out of vinyl too.
A lot of them are, yeah. They're made out of these different poly-type materials and things like that. So that turkey seminar we went to 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago, the guy there, he swore by it. He said, my pop-up blind got sprayed down with it. He said, because that's the first thing he did is put it under a black light, and, man, the thing just shined like a Christmas tree. So he put that blocker on it, just knocked it right down. So I think Bob's on the right track with that. Guys, you got, anything that's camo that's not clothing. Pop-up blind, maybe some netting you put in front of you, or one of those umbrella blinds you put around your tree stand. Spray it on there and see what it does. I don't know, Michael. You just held up an arrow here that's camo, got camo wrap on it. I don't know. That might be a good thing to check out. That possibly could have a
bow.
Yeah, or your bow. Matter of fact, he mentioned guns and bows that have a camo print on them. He said a lot of times, those will cast that UV light also. So it's something to check out, think about. When you spray that on a gun or a bow, though, you be very, very careful not to get it on the string, or if it's a gun, the mechanics of it, the mechanism, where you might have the shells and the firing pin and all that stuff.
If you're having a gun, just take off the stock and do it. Yeah,
it'd be interesting to see with that new bow you got that's got that in velvet on it, that like that Duramac grip on it.
I don't want to mess that up.
Yeah, well, that'd be the thing you got to kind of watch out for. You can't go spraying chemicals on something that a UV blocker that might mess up a finish either. As far as that rubberized finish they put on a lot of these guns now. So, yeah, don't just go haphazardly. If you buy the stuff, don't go haphazardly spraying it on everything. Test it out on a little spot first, see what it does. So that was the first thing. You said you had a couple things?
Yeah. Next, I want to talk about my equalizer from Bowtech.
Okay.
I got. Finally today, we actually got to go to the pro shop, and I got to get it set up.
And what pro shops you?
Brown's Archery in Goodrich.
Yep, want to thank the guys over there at Brown's. Those guys are awesome. I think his name's
Matt.
We go over there. We don't go over there a lot. I do some of my own work on my bows, but when it comes to setting up something or getting equipment,
redneck style.
Who, me?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
You were out there trying to make a bow press earlier.
I wasn't making a bow press. I was working on guys. I was working on Jake's bow. He's got a little PSE Outlaw, and I've cut my hands up on the cam so many times trying to collapse it. It's only up to a 30-pound bow. It's a kid's youth bow, and you've got to get the thing loosened. You got to collapse it to get it to change the settings on it. So I got a ratchet strap, and I took it to the limbs, and I ratcheted it down, and it did the job, didn't it?
Yeah.
Redneck or not?
It looks redneck.
Where did I get the idea for it?
Where?
You didn't see that in the catalog?
Okay.
The new Cabela's catalog, archery catalog that we got? There's a ratchet strap bow press. It's got two clamps on each end, and you hook it around the limbs, and you use a ratchet strap, and you ratchet it, and it compresses the bow. And that's where I got the idea. And I saved myself $30-$40 for that thing. I don't know what it cost, but I had a ratchet strap, and that's what I did. So The biggest thing you got to watch out for when you do that is make sure you don't put it on one side of the bow, because what it'll do is it'll torque the limbs. I was doing that with Jake's, and I actually noticed it was taking and twisting the limbs just a little bit. You need to get equal pressure and pull it from the center section if you can, of the ends of the limbs. Don't put it on, just hook it on one side. So I could probably take a picture of it easier and I can explain it. But it worked, and it kept me from carving my hands up. Last time I did it, my hands were beat up bad. I mean, cut up
cuts
all over my hands, because the cams, when you start pulling the cables off, the things slip and spin and rotate real quick, and it's a real pain. So unlike the new bows that we're working on, the ones that we're going to be getting in from Browning and the ones that we got from Bowtech in Diamond, those the adjustments on right now are just so easy. Matter of fact, yesterday we were down at Kevin's house, and he had that Parker buckshot that we're field testing, and his daughter's been shooting it. So the draw length was too long for Jake, and the poundage was way too high. So he dropped the poundage on it real quick, like you do every bow. Allen wrench on the limbs, count the turns. He gave it a couple spins, got it down where he could pull it. Well, then the draw length was way too long. It took him less than a minute to take 2 screws out, slide the modules, put them back in. Bam, he's done. Jake's shooting. That easy. I mean, it was so slick. So a lot of these new bows have these module systems built into them where you can change the draw length without having to put them on a bow press or anything like that. Like I was his, That's why I got the ratchet strips. Call me a redneck, I tell you. See what I got to put up with, people? Kids cracking on me. So now, where were you? You
I don't know. You threw me off the track.
Well, you called me a redneck. I had to defend myself. No, we were talking about you got everything.
The bow, yeah. I finally got it set up at Brown's.
Yeah. So, those guys are good. We go out there. Yeah. Not a lot, but we go out there, and they take care of us.
I got a Apex single pin sight. I think it has like a light kit on it.
It's fixed.
Fixed.
Yeah, it's not one of those adjustable ones where you can adjust it on the fly. It's a nice little sight you got on there.
Yeah. And then
And who paid for that?
You.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I got a string loop put on it.
Who paid for that?
You.
Okay.
And then I got a hand lanyard.
You paid for that.
I paid for that. I got a stabilizer. I paid for that. I got something that I actually really like, the new G5. I think it's called the Beta Peep Sight. You got that?
Who paid for that? I did. Yeah.
And actually, I got a new release that I paid for.
I still don't know why you bought a new release.
I don't like the way that one's set up, and it's got Velcro all over it. Yeah,
man, but Velcro tighten. I guess, folks, here's, you get to the age, these kids get to this age where they make decisions for themselves. This is where Michael and I differ, and we differ greatly on this point. Go ahead and explain what you got.
I really don't like the Velcro because it makes too much noise. I mean, if there's some reason you have to take it off in the woods or something, you're going to scare everything away. And what I got is the belt buckle one. It's like a belt buckle.
So here's Velcro. That's the Velcro. You're worried about that sound scaring game off?
Yeah.
Well, okay. When do you put? This is where we differ, folks. When do you put this on?
Before
you go into the woods.
Yeah.
Okay. When do you take it off?
When you get out, or if you have to go to the bathroom or something.
You can't go to the bathroom with a release on your hand.
It's hard.
It's not hard. You just flip it around out of the way. You don't have to take it off.
I don't like the Velcro.
You just want to spend some money. The reason I like the Velcro is because you can get this thing cinched up extremely tight.
I got mine up tight.
Yeah, but you know what? What's yours, like a belt?
Yeah.
It's the belt fastener.
Yeah.
That's going to stretch over time, okay? Those holes are going to stretch and slip and wear out. And what happens if you get to an in-between spot between two holes? You're either going to be too tight or you're going to be a little too loose.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand where you're coming from. I do. But truthfully, I like having the thing just as doggone tight as I can get it. And once you get this Velcro on, it's double Velcro,
Triple.
It's that thing's not coming off, and it's not going to slide over your wrist. It's there to stay. I like that. I like the feel of it and the security of it. I put it on before I go into the woods, when I leave the truck, when I'm going in the field. And then when I get down out of the area, I walk back to the truck and I take it off. And, I mean, it's just, I don't know, that's the way I do it.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I have been out in the field before and had to use the facilities of the little boys tree. And, I just, you just take it and you spin it around. If you've got this on, how hard is it to do that right there? Now, see, I just spun it around. It's out of the way. Your hands are free.
Yeah.
Okay? You ready to hunt? You spin it back around. There it is.
I still like mine better.
I know you do, and I don't know why.
I don't know what the True Fire.
The what?
True Fire.
Is that what the manufacturer of yours?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, this one's a True Ball. The one that I bought you. But you know what? Now I got to back up.
Yeah.
It's exactly like mine.
So when yours breaks.
Mine's not going to break, but if if it does break, I've got an extra one, I'll keep it in the trucker and keep it in my bag or what have you.
Or somehow you'll contact them and you'll get a free one somehow.
Or it'll be, maybe I'll forget it one day, or you never know.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's a mechanical device. It can fail.
Yeah.
It's a trigger release. But now yours, actually, the head on yours is a little different than this one. What's that all about?
Mine, to release it, you just pull it back and it snaps back in place in the back. And to close it, you push up on the trigger basically backwards.
Okay, where this one you have to actually physically...
There's like two different buttons on that one.
On this one, you got to actually physically, you got to close it. You got to push the jaw shut on it. Where yours, you just bump the trigger forward again, and it...
Actually, you just push that button.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you need force to take that one off.
Yeah, you can do it either way. You can hit the button on the side and it closes it, or you can actually just close the jaw.
Yeah.
And yours is also adjustable as far as the tension on the trigger.
Yeah.
The amount it takes to release it. So, I don't know. It was nice, I guess. But what'd you pay for that? Like
$50.
It was more. I think like $56 or something like that. It was pretty expensive.
I was thinking about going with the Hurricane or the 360, but the 360 was $70.
Yeah. Well, what was different about that?
It has it's like a belt, like like on a bull how they have like the nose rings.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically like that, and
Okay.
it moves around more.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
And it's like one of those ring style belts.
Yep.
Okay, I got you. Oh well, I don't know. I mean, if you're happy with that, that's cool. If you like it, and
you'll be laughing at me when it breaks or something.
No, I won't laugh at you when it breaks. I'll just, it's a mechanical device. It can fail just like mine could.
Yeah.
It's just I like the Velcro. That's the whole thing about mine that I love. And I know I'm not going to change your mind on it. So, but good luck to you. Oh, these new tips.
I wanted to talk about these too. There's these new field points that I got that actually Matt Woodbury at the Compass Outdoor Range gave to me. I saw him and I said, "Oh, them look pretty cool." And he's like, "You want some?" I'm like, "No, that's okay." And he's like, "No, here, take them. I got 2 extras." He's like, "What do you shoot, 100s?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So he gave me 2 to try out.
You're talking 100 grains, right?
100 grains. No, they're $100.
Yeah. For people who don't know,
yeah,
there might
they're
be
100
listening.
grains.
You got to explain things to people who are listening. You can't just show them,
100 grains, and so I tried them out. They're called silk tips, I think.
Okay.
I think they're easier to remove, like from 3D targets and stuff. Like they were a lot easier to remove from the 3D deer.
Okay. Is that the whole purpose of them? The way they're shaped and everything? Okay.
Yeah. Plus they look cool.
Yeah, they got a little plastic ring around the back side of them.
Yeah.
You're all about the looks, aren't you?
Yeah.
You know
That's
what?
why I got these zebras.
All I care about is function. It doesn't matter if it looks cool. If it works, that's all. It's it's good enough for me. It doesn't have to look cool. It's just got to work.
I like to look cool.
These kids nowadays, I tell you. What are we going to do with them? All right. Anything else you got in game bag this week?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, moving along here, we were actually going to go out. I'm going to save what we did yesterday for last. That's the best part, I think.
What we did yesterday?
Yeah, when we went down to Kevin's house.
Oh.
So I'm going to save that for the end of the show. But this morning we were going to go fishing. We're going to hook up with Tim Ford and take the new Foulmouth 2 boat that I got. That's the name of it, Foulmouth 2. We're going to take the new boat and take the kids and go up and do a little catfishing. But we got up this morning right before daylight, and we had thunder, we had rain, and the whole 9 yards. So we had to cancel our trip. But we kind of hung around the house this morning a little bit, and I'm kind of lazying around. Then I started doing a little bit of blogging. And Mama Coyote, that's what I call the wife now. She's like, man, she's on the varmints, I tell you. she's like, groundhog on the stump. So I bolt up, jump up, take off upstairs, and throw a shell in the rifle, and I dropped one of them things. And then later on,
Actually, it was like 15 minutes later.
well, about a half hour later, we were back down here in the house messing around and stuff. She yells, "Coyote on the stump!" And I was like, "Man, another one."
Coyote on the stump?
Mama Coyote, she yells out again, "Groundhog on the stump!" So I run back upstairs, grab the rifle again, and I yell at Mackenzie. I'm like, "Hey," I said, "you want to shoot one?" You know, she's like, "Yeah." 'Cause she's never actually took a shot at a game animal yet, and so I got her in position, got her on the post, and got ready to go, and got it loaded up for her. And she's waiting, and I'm trying to help her steady the rifle up, and I'm like, just squeeze the trigger nice and easy, take your time. And she's waiting. And I'm like, man, is she ever going to shoot? And then all of a sudden, crack, she throws a shot, and it jumps about 5 feet. It just launches off that stump like Superman. She's like, did I get it? And I'm like, well, I don't think so, so I didn't want to burst her bubble, so I let her go out and look. But yeah, they couldn't find it. She didn't hit that one. And so we wrapped everything up, came back inside, and I sat back down. It wasn't 5 minutes, and Mom Coyote again, groundhog's back out again. So we get back up and get ready and look, and he got off the stump before we could get outside, and sat back down. And it wasn't another 5 minutes. He come back up on the stump again, and we got out there and just got ready to get set up. He went back down. I just said, look, you were with her.
Yeah.
I said, look, just sit here, take your time, and wait. He'll come back. So just set tight. So I was taking care of something real quick, and then I come back, and you guys sitting there, and it wasn't a minute after you took off. He come crawling back up there again, and she threw a shot, and she rolled him. I don't know where she hit it at, but she definitely hit it. And he rolled, came off stump, and sent it. I thought she had a dead shot. But there's a hole, there's 2 entry holes right at the base of that stump. And I think she hit it, and it went back down the stump.
You must have a huge town down there. They're all back through that field.
Well, I've taken 4 this year. You've taken 1. Jake's taken 1.
Mackenzie's taken 1.
And she shot that one today. Whether it's dead or just wounded, I don't know. But I mean, it's like a little groundhog town back there. It's crazy. So
too bad they aren't prairie dogs.
Well, they're just as nasty as prairie dogs.
If they had prairie dogs, they'd be sitting up there with my 1022.
Digging holes and tearing up the backyard and tearing up the field and the whole 9 yards. But so she got 2 shots off. So that was pretty cool. She actually got to take a shot at a game animal finally, and she went deer hunting or bow hunting last year. Never got a shot. She went duck hunting with us and actually passed on a couple shots.
Yeah, she's like, I don't want to fall on my head.
She's afraid they're going to fall into the boat and hit her in the head. But, she's learning. And she went on a rabbit hunt last year with us, and she didn't. Actually, we didn't even see anything then. So this is her first opportunity to take a shot at something. So, but that was this morning. Then after we got around and everything kind of settled down, we got everybody together, and like Michael said, we went over to the pro shop. We got him set up on his bow, and since my youngest daughter Madeline started shooting this week with that Matthews, I bought her a half dozen arrows, some junior carbons, and she thought that was the best thing since sliced bread. So now she's got her own set of arrows.
She picked out her own colors and stuff.
Yeah, so she thought that was really cool. So she's all excited, and she's shooting pretty well. I got some pictures I'll try to put up on the internet of all 4 of you actually out there, like the 4 amigos or something out there with your bows. But it's really exciting. I couldn't be more proud than to see all 4 of my kids doing something that they enjoy, and I'm lucky enough that it's something that I enjoy also. And what more can you ask for than kids wanting to go outside every day and do something outside? I mean, you can't ask for anything any better than that, So. But that was today. So now I want to back up to yesterday.
It's going to take a long time.
Yeah, I wanted to save the best part for last. Yesterday, actually, I got a call earlier in the week from a buddy, Chuck Parr, the one who's doing the Delta Waterfowl thing. And he was in the process of purchasing a handgun. and he's getting ready to purchase this firearm, but the deal hasn't went through yet. He's buying it used from a friend, and once he thought he was going to have it by this weekend, and we were going to go to the gun range. We were going to do some shooting, and it just, like I said, things just didn't pan out right. Timing wasn't right, and he'll probably wind up getting it this week. But we were going to get everybody together, everybody here from the Up North Journal team, and head out to the gun range. And it's supposed to be a big day, and it just didn't work out. So when I called my buddy Kevin, to tell him that it wasn't going to work out, and he's like, well, hey, I'm not doing nothing today. Get your stuff, get down here, and let's do some reloading. And I'm like, what better time to do that? We have nothing else planned. So as we've talked on the show here before, that we plan on doing some reloading, and yesterday was the day. I did my first reloading. Did the 22 Hornets. Actually, you and Jake went down with me. Yeah. And you guys
we spent most of the time shooting our bows off of his deck.
Yeah, you guys were doing some bow shooting while Kevin was teaching me the fine art of reloading. I can say this. It's not as hard as what you might think, but you need to pay attention. You really need to pay attention to what you're doing. You need to have a organized area, a clean area to work in, with no distractions. Because if you don't pay attention, you can get into some trouble, and you can cause damage to your firearm, damage or injury to yourself, or worst case scenario, you could potentially kill yourself.
Or your house.
But I'm not saying you're going to blow yourself up and burn the house down and kill everybody. That's not the case. That's not what I'm talking about. The worst part of it, or the most dangerous part of it, probably, besides the primers, is you need to pay attention and make sure you do not overload or double load your shells or your cases. That's where the potential lies in danger. Fortunately, the loads that we were using, the powder that we were using, and the case size that we were using from my shells and everything, it was impossible to double load them. Because if you had double loaded them, you'd have powder all over the place. They weren't all the way to the top, but they were well over halfway. So, but anyway, we got down there, got set up. I had 100 rounds of, or 100 nickel-plated cases. I had 100 brass cases and probably 70, 75 previously shot 22 Hornet brass cases left over that I had saved. So we took them all down there. I had the primers bought. Actually, the powder he uses for his hand loads for his pistol is actually his hand cannon. Yeah, is actually the powder was recommended for my 22 Hornet rounds. Did a lot of research on the internet, found out what other guys are using, what's working well for them, how much powder they're using, with what type of bullets, and all this, that, and the other. So what we did, we tried to make something as close to a factory load as we could, that maybe was a little more controlled than a factory load, and that would perform as well or better. So we got it all set up down there, and he had already pre-tumbled my old brass, so it was ready to go. Went through the procedure, kicked the primers out of all those already previously shot shells, and started a reloading process. We did some 40 grain tipped hollow points with full metal jacket. We did some 40 grain full metal jacket ballistic tipped or poly tipped bullets.
Copper coated, weren't they?
Yeah, full metal jacket. And we tried to do equal amounts of all. We did 25 of each on the nickel, 25 each on the new brass, and 25 each on the previously shot rounds.
And then ballistic tips look awesome, and then nickel plated.
They do. They look mean.
Yeah.
And actually, tomorrow morning it's going to be on the blog site on Hooks and Bullets. I've got a little blog on that of how we did everything, some photos of what we did. And we actually shot some video also. I'm going to do a video on it too, showing the basics of how we went through this procedure. But the problem that I had as far as being distracted, I was trying to learn from him, and then when I would do the procedure and he was telling me, the steps to take, we had some empty shell cases off to the side. And then on the loading block, you've got your cases that you've already put your powder in. And I was getting ready, I was picking them up, putting the tips on them, and putting them in the press and running them through the press to actually put the projectile seated into the case. And he's talking, and I'm going through and doing this. And all of a sudden, I caught myself starting to reach for that pile of brass that we haven't even put powder in yet. But they'd already had primers put in them. And I stopped myself. I'm like, wait a minute. Which one's okay? I had to really focus, because if you put a projectile on a case that's primed with no powder in it, those primers have enough power to push that bullet either part way down the barrel or all the way down the barrel. If it pushes it part way down the barrel, that's called a squib round, and they're loud. You think you shot that rifle, and all of a sudden you put another shell in and you shoot, you've got a block. You've got an obstruction in the barrel. You put another round right behind it, you're going to blow the gun up. So you've really got to pay attention. That's where it can get really hairy. Double loads, or even putting a projectile on a case with no powder in it. So, there's some things you really need to pay attention to there. And it was a good learning lesson for me to really understand the procedures you go through, to understand the how to keep things under control and pay attention, because if you don't, you can get in some big trouble. But there's nothing more satisfying than loading your own round and then the next morning getting up and shooting a groundhog with a round you loaded.
Especially that first one, you tore that shoulder. You shot it in the back, and it looked like just a normal, but you just hit it. I don't think it came out. And then you flipped it over and looked at the front shoulder, and you're like, dang. Yeah. And the whole front shoulder was just completely obliterated.
Yeah, we shot a hollow point, just a regular hollow point, one of those nickel-plated cases, and it went through the hip, back just above the hip area, and went transverse across the body and come out the front shoulder, opposite front shoulder, and it obliterated it. I know you shot, when you shot, was it you or Jake? I think it was Jake that shot, when he shot his with the Hornet. The bullet never came out of it. We actually found the lead. It never went through the animal. It killed it dead, but it was lodged in just between the skin and up in the front shoulder. He shot his kind of the same way, transverse through the body. But this one, it went clean through, and it was nasty. So the hollow point did the job. It definitely did the job. And when I'm putting that shell in the rifle, I'm thinking, man, I loaded this one. I hope it. All these thoughts go through your mind. It's like, I hope this works, and hope I loaded it right and all that, because it's the first one I shot. It's the first time I loaded a round into a gun that I hand loaded, and it's not a factory load. And you're like, you got all these thoughts racing through your mind. But as soon as I look down through the scope, that all goes out of your mind. You're focusing on laying the crosshairs on it and doing the job, and afterwards you take the shot and you're like, doggone, man, that worked pretty sweet. Yeah. And there's a sense of satisfaction. It's more of a sense of satisfaction when you take an animal with a round that you loaded personally. It's just, I don't know, there's just something a little more satisfying about that than going and buying a box of shells. It's I had a good time doing it. It was almost kind of relaxing in a way. Even though, you have to pay attention, you can't get relaxed. But, it was, I don't know, I can't explain it. It was different. It was a lot of fun. And actually, I'll let you guys, you and Jake loaded a dozen each. You loaded 6 hollow points and 6 poly tips yourself.
Yeah, with adult supervision.
With adult supervision, let me reassure everybody, we double-checked everything, but we let them load them. We held them while they poured the powder. We measured the powder for them, let them pour the powder in, let them prime them, and let them seat the shells and let them crimp them and everything. So
it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So now you've got 12 rounds.
I got a box of them in my room.
You've got 12 rounds to shoot, and Jake's got 12 rounds to shoot of loads that you guys personally loaded. So it'll kind of get you started on this too. But here's the whole kicker to the whole thing. My buddy Kevin, he had the press, he had the powder, he had a couple of the other tools that I needed. But I bought the dies that went to that style press that he had, and that's the one I'm going to buy eventually. Had I bought the dies and had I bought a press or a press kit to do everything with that he had, I would have spent, along with my cases and my primers and my bullets, I would have probably spent $140, $150. We loaded 200 rounds of ammunition, and a box of 50 of the 22 Hornet factory loads Winchesters right now are running about $50 a box for the hollow points. So
I thought it was 25.
That's the box I bought 5 years ago.
Oh.
They had the sticker on. Yeah, they were $25 back then, and I complained then at how much they cost. So
kind of like when a long time ago you were complaining about like $1.50 for a gallon of gas.
exactly. And now we're complaining because it's $4 and higher. But yeah, the price of ammunitions went sky high, you know. And had I bought the press that he had along with everything else, I'd have had about $150, $160 into everything, and it wound up with 200 rounds ready to go. Had I bought 200 rounds of ammunition, it'd been $200. So first time I used it, I've already made a savings. You know, I've done more than broke even. So it depends on what type of ammunition you're loading and how much it costs. You know, you might have ammunition that costs a little bit less than that. It might take a little longer to recoup that money. But if you're shooting some specialty loads, you know, you need to get into reloading. You know, it's a lot of fun. It can save you some money, and it's more controlled than a factory load. You know, then you can start playing with different amounts of powder, different types of powder, different sizes of projectiles and things of that nature, and fine tune your ammunition. You know, what works best in your gun. So I had a ball doing it. It was a lot of fun.
It was pretty cool.
So just
loading, like letting me and Jake load one.
Yeah. What did you think about the whole thing? I mean, what was going through your mind while you were doing that?
I hope that it doesn't blow up when I shoot it.
Well, we ain't got to worry about that. There's, like I said, there's no way you can overload those.
Yeah.
You know, it's got a pre-measured scooper with it, and we measured and weighed and did the calculations with the equations and everything to make sure that we were right on the money. And we were actually dumping 10.67 grains of powder into each shell, and that is a safe. That's right in the middle of what's recommended for a safe measure of powder for that style of powder, the H110 powder that we were using. That was a safe load right in the middle of the road for that round. So no worries. And it
hopefully.
It went off and it did its job. So, but yeah, something else we're going to get into, do a little bit of reloading, like I said, and we did a video. We're going to get that on the internet so everybody can check that out and see kind of what we did and you know, procedures we took and all that stuff with it. So one last thing I want to go over here real quick before the end of the show. We've been doing a lot of talk about archery. We getting the youth bow interview or the youth bow reviews we're going to be doing here real soon. And the last 2 weeks we've been doing interviews or letting you listen to the interviews we did with Paul Penix of PSE and Browning, and we covered the Micro Midas 3 youth bow, and we also covered the Micro Adrenaline bow. This week we have an interview with him that covers the Micro Eclipse, and we've got the interview for you. So here's Paul Penix on the Browning Micro Eclipse.
Now, what's the other product you have here?
Well, the next one is the Micro Eclipse, and this is our single cam offering. The adjustability is the biggest thing, and we do have an inner cam here, so we're not buying anything to change the draw length. It can be done on the kitchen table just like the other ones. But this bow only has 5.5 inches of draw length adjustability. Single cam, we're limited with what we can do on one cam. And we have a draw stop that effectively has to be moved. If you change the module position on the back side or the power side of the cam and you don't change the draw stop, you have not effectively changed the draw. So there's a two-step process on this one. The good news is that this bow is as quiet as anything I have ever heard, seen, shot myself. There is nothing comes through this. This is one of engineering marvels at PSE. This bow is not as aggressive. It doesn't have the two cans, so it's not that aggressive, hard shooting draw Micro Adrenaline. But it does have the nice smooth single cam, and single cams have etched their place in archery history and in the archery shooting public's eye, and it is a very, very viable shooting system. And it does still carry over the 4 sight mounting holes, the slimline grip, and this is an ergonomic grip. We call it a biochemical ergonomic slim throat grip, and it's just a fancy way of saying that your hand goes in the grip the same way every time. And most people are not aware that the bigger the grip, the more surface area, the more you have a chance to alter or torque the bow. And Terry Ragsdale, one of the greatest target shooters that's ever lived, pointed out something to me about 18, 20 years ago, and he was so meticulous about lining his hand up, and I quizzed him about it, and he said, Mr. Paul, he said, if you don't put your hand in that grip the same way every time, he said the results are devastating. And he said 1/8 of an inch of pressure change on this grip will be a 3-inch miss left or right at 20 yards. And it hit me like a ton of bricks, because there would be times I would wad them up in the middle so tight, and my next 2 arrows, I'd have one out to the left and one out to the right, out of the bullseye at 20 yards. And I thought I shot that better than that. How did that happen? It's grip right here. Yeah. So I wasn't putting my hand, wasn't replicating that grip over and over, and we don't force you to have good shooting form, but we make it real easy to have good shooting form. Absolutely.
Okay.
So, again, the same adult limb pocket, the same limb structure, everything that's on our high-end bows is on this bow. $349.99 is the retail price on this, with a package that retails about $419, I believe.
Okay.
I take that back, $489.
Okay.
And it does come with arrows.
Okay.
So as far as the youth, and also there's been a lot of women that have said, don't insult me and tell me I can shoot this Micro Midas 3 because it looks like a child's bow. And when you put this in their hand, and they understand that the technology is here, the performance here, the shootability, the balance, the stabilized performance of the bow is all here. So it's not, we're not being condescending. And this is available in a 40-pound peak weight or a 50-pound peak weight. So if a gal wants to shoot 35 up to maybe 52 or 3 pounds, this bow will perform and do that for her.
More than adequate to take big game in Michigan.
Anything in Michigan.
Or anywhere else.
Absolutely.
Let me ask you what's the most common mistake an adult will make when choosing a bow for their child, in your opinion?
Trying to get them to shoot too much poundage. When a child pulls the bow back, they're using muscles that they're not acclimated to using, and it takes a while. And mom and dad look at it and say, hey, can you pull it? And he'll work his tail off, and he'll finally get it back. Yeah. And then my question is, can you pull it 60 times in an hour? No. I couldn't pull it 60 times in a month. Right. Well, it's too much. And they don't understand that a child they got those young muscles, and they'll recuperate, and they'll come right around. So, okay, let's start them on 20 pounds. When hunting season gets here, this is June 6th or 7th? 7th today, okay? By the time hunting season rolls around, that kid will be shooting 30, 35 pounds, and he can kill any white-tailed deer in the state of Michigan, for anywhere in the country as far as that goes, with 35 pounds. And it's all about shot placement. It's not about how much macho pounds you can pull. It's about putting that arrow right behind their shoulder, sliding it through the ribs with a nice cut-on contact broadhead for light poundage, and it's all shot placement. So parents, two mistakes. Number one is poundage. Second one is draw length, and they try to get a kid overextended. They try to get them too long a draw, and it's essential that when that child draws, that string comes back and stops right at the front of their face and not back here on their cheek. And archery is about leverage. And you've got to have leverage in the bow, and if you're overextended, the draw length's too long, you've lost all your leverage. So while they're aiming, while they're getting ready to squeeze that trigger on that release or let go with their fingers, they need to have plenty of leverage in the bow, and draw length and poundage are the two key things, and that's why these bows have so much adjustability, because we're trying to address that issue and make those the right choice and a good decision for a parent looking for a child to have a bow.
You think the reason they have them maybe overdraw is because they're looking for something that they can grow into, and they don't want to buy something smaller?
That's a lot of it. And a lot of parents got some bad information passed along to them, and possibly their setup is wrong right now. And a lot of them, as I look at them, I had a gentleman here yesterday, and he says, are you sure that's too long? It looks too short. And the string was almost to the kid's ear. And I said, where do you anchor? Oh, just like that. Got my thumb behind my back of my neck, and I said, well, your draw length's too long too.
Pull their ear off one day.
Absolutely. And it's it's a common mistake. And if in an adult archery, the biggest thing I've seen in the last 20 years is people being overextended, having too long a draw. It's almost a curse. And then when you show somebody what they can do and how they can shoot with the proper draw length, they'll look around sometimes and they got this big grin on their face. They wonder who's shooting their bow because they've never shot that good. And now all of a sudden archery's fun. Archery's a gas. Now archery, it's when you're in a shooting sport, the idea is to hit the middle. You want to hit what you're aiming at. And when you can start dropping arrows in 50, 60 yards and you see somebody go from, well, I'd never shoot past 20 yards ever. And they expand that effective range, 20, 30 yards. My God, it's so much fun. And people just stand there amazed. You can do that with a bow and arrow? Oh, you ain't seen nothing yet. And as that confidence builds, people say, well, that's unethical. I wouldn't shoot that far at a white-tailed deer. That's not the point. The point is that if you can do that in the target range, when that deer walks out 12 yards, your confidence is soaring up in the stratosphere, and there's no way. You have so much confidence. It's easy. You pick a spot, that trigger clicks, and we're not looking after a wounded animal. We're recovering a dead one. Right. And that's paramount. Well, and bow hunters, I'll say this. It needs to be said, I think. I get guys that I start trying to educate them, try to give them better information to help them make better decisions when they're buying new product. And they say, well, I'm just a bow hunter. I don't need all that fancy stuff. I don't need to be that. Wait. You're shooting at a target that's living and breathing. Who cares if we miss and poke a hole in a piece of plastic or rubber or paper? Doesn't matter a bit. Who cares? We just pull the arrow out and shoot it again. You get one chance on an animal. Do you want to make that animal suffer? Not me. Not me, friend. I want to know that when that trigger clicks, that everything is lined up. Now, Murphy's Law is out there, and you have to allow for Murphy's Law. And if I was going to quit bow hunting because I wounded an animal, I'd have quit a long time ago. But I stack the odds in my favor, so Murphy doesn't have a law to come in there and kick my butt every time.
Building confidence is what it's all about.
Building confidence is paramount and key, absolutely.
Well, thanks. I appreciate the time, and you got some awesome products. And
Mike, thank you.
Hopefully we can get some of these out in some kids' hands sometime. And, if nothing else, they've got some information now to take with them and make a good, informed decision.
Great.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Okay, that was Paul Penix from PSE Browning and covering the Micro Eclipse. And hopefully we're going to get those bows here in this week or next week, Michael. Actually, yeah. I'm hoping we get them in before we do the big broadhead test so we can get them set up and kind of launch that at the same time. If not, we might have to put it off a week or so. But we're anxiously awaiting those. Getting those in and getting them in the kids' hands and getting them ready to go. Actually, you're going to be shooting them too. We're going to put these smaller bows through its paces with you.
Yeah.
Even, get your opinion on them and all that.
I'm not sure if anyone's going to be able to shoot the equalizer.
A couple guys at the range probably will. A couple of the bigger kids probably will be able to use that and put it through its paces. Well, that's what it's all about. We want to be able to let everybody shoot them.
I know, but
that's what
just shooting that today, I probably shot maybe almost 100 rounds through it.
Yeah.
This afternoon.
It's a lot of fun to shoot, and hopefully we can get some other people to put them in their hands and let them check them out and get some different opinions because everybody's got a different style of shooting, different opinion on what works and what doesn't work for them. And speaking of archery, we had the archery tournament last weekend that I shot in, the tic-tac-toe tournament. We've got a new one coming up. Actually, it's going to be in September 8th here at the local range in Flint at compassoutdoors.org. If you go over to their website, you can find a map to that place. If you live in this area, it's called the Cinder Block Shoot. You care to explain what that is, Michael?
Yeah, basically there's a wall of cinder blocks and there's a hole in them, and you have to shoot through the hole.
They take one block out.
Yeah.
That's the starting size, 8x16.
Oh, one block.
It's one size of one block.
I'm going to get eliminated fast.
Yeah. So you got one arrow, and that's the arrow you get to use for the whole competition. And everybody's going to shoot. If you make it through the hole, you get to go to the next round. If you don't,
you lose your arrow.
You lose your arrow, and you're done. That's why it's called the cinder block smash, because the cinder block will smash your arrow.
I'm going to have to use one of my old ones.
And what they're going to do the next round, they'll close it up. They'll go probably like to 12 inches. You're going to close it up in 4-inch increments. So second round, it'll be 12 by 8. And then the next round will be 8 by 8, then 4 by 8. Then he'll go in a 2-inch increment, 2-inch by 8, and then down to an inch by 8. And he's going to eliminate. When you get down to 4 inches by 8 inches, you're going to start eliminating people really quick, I think. So it's going to be interesting to see. In the winter, if they get enough people, if they get 50 entries into this tournament, it's a little steep. It's $25 to enter. But if they get 50 people to enter at $25, the winner's going to get a brand new bow.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure what kind yet, but the ones they were talking about, it's going to be a pretty nice bow. It's not going to be just something to sneeze at, so going to have to start practicing.
Yeah.
So
you could probably get pretty far.
There's some guys that shoot good there. I do all right.
Well, you've won the past 2 competitions.
Yeah, but you know what? There's a lot of luck involved in that too. I can hold my own. I'm by no means an expert archer. I do all right, but I have a feeling once you put a new bow out there, competition is going to get real serious. So we'll see what happens. It'll be a lot of fun. I want to see some arrows shatter. That's going to be the fun part. So. But, hey, we're right here on the doorsteps of July. July 12th is when we're going to do our big broadhead kickoff, our broadhead test that we're going to do over at compassoutdoors.org. That's their website, but it's Compass Outdoors is the actual range that we're going to be shooting at. They're going to let us shoot over there. So make sure that you tune in on that next weekend to make sure that you can listen to what we have to say about the broadheads that we're testing. And it might actually wind up being more than one weekend. We may be biting off a little more we can chew to try to shoot this all in one day. We're going to do some video of it also that you'll be able to see. And we're going to give you our opinions on, the broadheads we got. We got 7 different companies that are involved, and we're looking forward to that. So, but that's about all I got. We're right here on the doorsteps of July, like I said. 4th of July is coming up. So for those of you who like to get out and celebrate your Second Amendment freedom that was just victorious this week with the vote in the Supreme Court, go out to the gun range and shoot. That's what we did last year.
We're going to have to do it again this year.
Yep. So.
What is there any other competitions coming up for that?
No, right now I think the center.
No, what ones are they thinking about?
Well, between now and September 8th, that's the only tournament that they're going to do. They were going to do a Price is Right type shoot, but that's not been organized as of yet.
Wasn't there one that me or you came up with for video games or something?
Oh yeah. Taking a computer game disc or a CD, one that you really like, to prove how good you are. Put that on a target and try to shoot the center hole in it. And if you hit it, you get to keep it. If not, you lose your game or your CD. So I don't know.
I thought that they could have one with just buy a thing of CDs like 100 or something.
Okay.
Because CDs are $1 a piece.
You can get CDs for pennies. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what it would actually do with the arrow. I imagine it'd shatter them pretty good, but yeah, I don't know. It might be something they could do. We'll see. Next weekend's 4th of July weekend. I'll be working Saturday. I got 4th of July off. I really don't know how much we're going to get to do this coming week. I'm hoping to get out and do some fishing this coming weekend with the kids and everything. And if for some reason our podcast is not up at its normal time, we got family coming into town. I'm not saying we're not going to do a podcast, but if circumstances lend itself that we can't, don't be alarmed. We will be back with the big broadhead test. So if for some reason we're not on next week, that's why. It's just that we've got a lot going on, but we are going to try our darndest to make sure we get an episode out. It may not be as long as what we've been doing lately, but we're going to try our best to get something out there for you guys. So, anything else this week, Michael?
No, I'm tired.
Me too. It's been a long 2 days. So, with that, I guess we're done for the week, and hopefully we'll be back next week. Make sure you tune in. And like I said, if you got any emails, shoot them along to us at michaeladams@upnorthjournal.com. If you got one for Mikey here, it's Mikey's Game Bag at upnorthjournal.com. Or go to our website. Like I said, there's a lot of new stuff over there. Check it out. It's changing here by the week, and it's got a lot going on here. So get over and check it out. So that'll do it this week for us guys here at the Up North Journal. As we always say, if you're out on the water or in the woods, shoot straight, be safe. Till next week on the Up North Journal.